Every day, something dramatic happens in the Caribbean that affects our lives. We'll give you the details. We'll give you the facts on Caribbean Perspective with Eddie Frederick. Here's Eddie Frederick.
So glad you can join us. Ex-President of Honduras is to be extradited to the United States. This story takes the lead in today's edition of Caribbean Perspective for Tuesday, 19th April 2022. Details when we return.
Hubbard's Multi-Department Mount Gay and Hubbard's Tire Bay, located at the Building Supplies Compound in Grand Anse, are reminding the motoring public that another round for licensing and inspection has begun. Just arrived on new shipments of quality furrowed and torque tires to fit all makes and models of vehicles at competitive pricing. Shop early to avoid the hassle of long lines. WhatsApp them on 473-405-5482. Hubbard's, quality service, affordable prices.
Welcome back. Juan Orlando Hernandez, ex-president of the Central American Territory of Honduras, has found himself afoul of the U.S. Drug Enforcement Agency and is to be extradited to the United States as early as this week, according to Honduran Security Minister. Details in this HGP Nightly Regional News Report.
Mr. Hernandez, who governed from 2014 to January this year, was arrested at his home in Tegucigalpa in February. He is accused of being involved in a drug trafficking ring, which included his younger brother, Tony Hernandez, who was last year sentenced in the U.S. to life in prison. The ex-president denies any wrongdoing. Security Minister Raymond Sibillan said that the extradition will happen next week, sometime between Wednesday and Friday. Mr. Sibillan said that the former president would be handed over to the DEA, who would take him to New York. A judge granted the extradition request last month. An appeal against the decision lodged by Mr. Hernandez's legal team was dismissed. The former president faces 3 charges: conspiracy to import a controlled substance into the U.S., using or carrying firearms, including machine guns, and conspiracy to use or carry firearms. Mr. Hernandez says he is innocent and that the charges are based on information fabricated by drug traffickers who want to incriminate him in revenge for what he describes as his government's tough anti-drug policies. The 53-year-old has been in police custody since his arrest in February, just weeks after he was replaced by the newly elected president, Xiomara Castro.
Jamaica's Prime Minister Andrew Holness has cautioned citizens against embracing criminals and dons over members of the Jamaica Constabulary Force, the JCF, in the fight against crime, warning them that criminals will rape their daughters and pillage their communities.
He said the police has transformed and is now becoming a people's force. However, he noted that there is a need for the wider citizenry to change their attitude towards members of the police force. And in calling for greater improvement between citizens and the police, Holder said citizens who are constantly being disrespectful to the police should know that crime producers do not have their best interests at heart. The criminals are not your friends, and they are going to pillage your communities and rape your daughters, and then you can't say anything about it, warned Holness during the recent groundbreaking ceremony for the Little London Police Station in Westmoreland. The Prime Minister said far too often, as seen in viral videos, citizens are choosing to side with criminal elements against the police, a cultural practice that he said must change. The Prime Minister also noted that there are procedures to deal with inappropriate behavior of police and urged persons to adhere to the process.
Former St. Lucian Prime Minister Alan Chastany revealed that he had a very frank discussion with visiting CARICOM Secretary General Dr. Carla Barnett.
CARICOM is not working, and I was very honest with her that as Prime Minister I was spending less and less time in CARICOM and more time at the OECS level, Chastanet told reporters on Wednesday. Regional leaders who met virtually in a special session on Tuesday, May 11, unanimously agreed to appoint the Belize national as the 8th CARICOM Secretary General. She assumed office on August 15, 2021. Currently, the opposition leader, Chastanet, recalled that Burnett's appointment came during his tenure as Prime Minister. He later wrote on his official Facebook page that he was impressed with the vision and passion which Dr. Burnett has for the Caribbean community and wished her and her team the greatest success during her tenure. But in telling reporters that CARICOM was not working, Chasnet called attention to the organization's ability to make timely decisions. He disclosed that the issue grappled with the most was a matter of sovereignty.
No evidence of wrongdoing. That's the finding of a recent investigation into two issues on the girls' compound of the Government Industrial School in Barbados. More in this Barbados Today news report.
Minister Abrams made clear that recent reports of an attempted escape by some wards at the institution were false.
I tell you that we as a board are very comfortable that the suggestions that are rampant out there about the mistreatment of these youngsters at the facility are baseless, are completely baseless.
Minister Abrams also provided an update on police investigations into a report last year that a naked 14-year-old girl was placed in a cell.
The police did their full investigation, talked to all the staff, they interviewed some of the students, they interviewed everybody, and found at the end of the day that there was no abuse of the student and there was nothing to warrant criminal charges. Of note is the fact that the young lady who was the subject of this and her mother, her family, declined to comment or give any evidence in this matter. But even though they declined to cooperate in the investigation and the approach was made to them more than once, the police still did their full investigation and recommended, they said they can keep it open in case the young lady and her family wish to come forward subsequently, right? But as it stands now, for all practical purposes, that investigation has reached its natural end, and we are satisfied that the young lady was not abused.
You're listening to Caribbean Perspective with Eddie Frederick.
Over in Guyana, the government and opposition have finally approved the names of 5 people who will serve on the new Public Procurement Commission. Gordon Mosley of News Source Guyana reports.
Attorney at Law and President of the Guyana Bar Association, Pauline Chase, Joel Bagwandin, Rajnawine Singh, Berkeley Wickham, and Diana Rajkumar will sit as new commissioners on the Public Procurement Commission. 3 of the nominees came from the government side, while the other 2 were nominated by the opposition. The nomination required a 2/3 majority vote before approval. Both sides in the House offered their full support to the motion for the nominations to go through. Chairman of the Public Accounts Committee and Opposition Member of Parliament, German Fakera, thanked the last Procurement Commission for setting the groundwork for the new commission to be in place. He reminded the National Assembly that it was under the former APNU-AFC government that the Public Procurement Commission became operational and started to do real work. Mr. Fakera said the government needs to now honor its obligations to the former members of the past Public Procurement Commission, who are still to be paid outstanding monies.
It is my hope that good sense would prevail, and those former members, Mr. Speaker, can be given the rightly deserved dues. Mr. Speaker, it is important to bring this House that it was under the coalition administration that this commission, this very important constitutional commission, became realized.
Meanwhile, in making the case for the Public Procurement Commission, Governance Minister Gail Teixeira highlighted the importance of the commission to transparency, noting that a country cannot go on longer without the commission being in place.
So that we have had 2 years, almost 2 years without a PPC, and I believe that in the process that we went through, I think we have found some very good Guyanese to be able to take on this responsibility and continue the work of the former PPC.
The Public Procurement Commission has not been in place since October of 2019. Its responsibilities include monitoring public procurement to ensure the principles of fairness, equity, value for money, and competition are upheld, and to ensure the procedures of public procurement are executed in accordance with the laws of Guyana.
The Roman Catholic Archbishop of Trinidad and Tobago says COVID and sickness could never have the final word because God rose Jesus Christ from the dead. The Archbishop Jason Gordon declares that whatever happens in the geopolitics of our world and whatever implications that means for Trinidad and Tobago, the power of God's resurrection is an unstoppable force. It was part of his Easter Sunday homily at the Catholic Cathedral as he sought to encourage a positive outlook of Trinidad and Tobago. TV6's Jewel Brown was there and filed this report.
Just hours before, Trinidad and Tobago recorded 0 COVID deaths on Easter Sunday. For the first time since the early days of the pandemic, Roman Catholic Archbishop Jason Gordon made reference to the pandemic in his Easter sermon at the cathedral, which was posted on YouTube. As he said, if we understand the meaning of the resurrection, we will not go into despair for Trinidad and Tobago or for ourselves.
And if God is for us, who could be against us? Sickness, calamity, COVID, retrenchment, foolishness, difficulty, jealousy, people setting us up. Could they ever be against us? Could they ever have the final word? No, because God raised from the dead Jesus Christ our Lord.
Archbishop Gordon also spoke about other issues to stress his point about the power of the resurrection of Jesus Christ.
As you look on and you see the power play between Russia and the Ukraine, with China and India on the side, and South Korea positioning themselves, and all the geopolitics that is happening. And brothers and sisters, all of that is real. And the consequences of that can be dire for us.
As he made a direct reference to Russia's invasion of Ukraine, which Trinidad and Tobago has joined the US, the European Union, and the United Kingdom and other allies in condemning, Archbishop Gordon said, "We don't know what this year will bring."
We don't know what the future will hold. But this I know, and this I know to be true. Whatever happens in the geopolitics of our world, and whatever implications that means for Trinidad and Tobago, the power of God's resurrection is an unstoppable force transforming humanity from within and bringing life where there seems to be death, hope where there seems to be despair, joy where there seems to be sorrow, because death has no more power over us.
The Roman Catholic Archbishop also encouraged the faithful and the population at large not to focus only on the bad things in this twin island republic.
I hear people with all kinds of negativity about Trinidad and Tobago. I think we have the most beautiful place anybody could ever have. And I think we are an amazing people, resilient and beautiful and always creative. I think we have more creativity per square foot in this country than most people would ever have. And the resilience of our people is the most amazing part of who we are as Trinidad and Tobago.
Jewel Brown, TV6 News.
Hubbard's Multi-Department Mount Gay and Hubbard's Tire Bay, located at the Building Supplies compound in Grand Anse, are reminding the motoring public that another round for licensing and inspection has begun. Just arrived are new shipments of quality furrowed and torque tires to fit all makes and models of vehicles at competitive pricing. Shop early to avoid the hassle of long lines. WhatsApp them on 473-405-5482. Hubbard's, quality service, affordable prices.
I am Eddie Frederick. This has been Caribbean Perspective, a whole new approach to highlighting developments in the Caribbean. In the meantime, please continue to log on to CaribbeanPerspective.com for more daily news and more.